So much about the.
What would you say if I turned into all the things you love to hate? And on my way comes crashing through the rotten beams and window panes.
Hey everybody, what is going on? Hey, I am back. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is true, I am back once again on the mic, coming to you live from COVID Central here. Yeah, for those of you that don't know, I came down with a nice little case of COVID-19. I hear it's going around. Yeah, boy. Yeah, this thing doesn't disappoint. It really, really knocked the hell out of me. It's been over 2 weeks, and while I don't think I'm still sick, boy, I'm still tired. I'm just wiped from this thing, and I think it might be a little bit longer before I really start feeling 100%. So if my voice sounds off here, or every once in a while I cough, I apologize. I'm going to try and edit as much of that out as I can. But if I'm a little nasally here, I'm sorry, guys. I got my tea here. I'm going to try and sound good for you guys and ladies. But, yeah, I'm just on the road to recovery. So I'm just happy to be back doing this. This is something I've been trying to do for the last couple of weeks, but man, even on the days that I did feel good, by the time I get to the evenings, it's just over. It was just game over. So, that being said, I have some topics here. Now, I am going to tell you that these topics are probably like a couple weeks old, but I still want to talk about some of them because, this is kind of like my therapy session here where I just get on the mic and I just rant. So you guys all should get like a copay from me, but unfortunately, I don't think Blue Cross Blue Shield would pay that out. So anyway, all right. So what are our topics for today? Well, Mortal Kombat has a movie coming out, and I totally forgot about this thing, and now there's a trailer for it, so we're going to talk about that. And hey, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is getting a new game, and it harkens back to the 16-bit beat-em-ups, which is awesome because who doesn't like, Hyperstone Heist or, of course, Turtles in Time? I love those games, so we're going to talk about that. We're also going to do a little bit of talking about the Amico. I know how all you guys love you some talk about the Amico, so I got a little something about that. And then kind of off that subject, we're probably going to talk about a little bit of the Polymega. So that'll be fun. And there is a Chicago lawmaker that wants to ban GTA 5. Here we go. Always got to blame something. Got to blame the video games for what's going on. And then we're going to talk about, what have I been doing in my time at home? Because I've been at home for over 2 weeks now. And I haven't been doing a lot other than just trying to get through my days, but I have been doing some things as far as gaming goes, so we're going to talk about that. But first, Mortal Kombat, there's a new movie coming out pretty soon, actually. I think I'm going to be able to see it on HBO Max, which is awesome, because all these movies that are coming out, it seems like I can see most of them on HBO Max, which is fantastic. And I'll be honest with you, the first time I seen this trailer, I was like, I don't know. Another Mortal Kombat movie? Is that really something that I'm looking forward to? I don't know. And it's not fair for this movie because I kind of had that bad taste in my mouth from like the last one or two of them. Now I don't know if they made 3 of them before, because the first one they made in I think it was the late 90s. I actually liked that movie. I mean, it wasn't good back then, and it doesn't age well, but it is what it is, and I do like that movie. Now the second one they made, it's horrible. I did not like that movie at all. And I want to say they made a third one too, but I could be wrong on that. So when I seen this trailer at first, I didn't really give it a fair shake. And then I went back a couple days later and I watched it again. I'm like, maybe this thing's going to be okay. It is what it is. I mean, as soon as you see a video game movie coming out, you always have to judge it accordingly, if you know what I mean. I mean, it's a video game movie. So we're going to see. I mean, it looks like it's done better. I mean, it's only been, 20 years since they did the original one? It's probably been, it's been a little bit longer than that probably. So, I don't know. We're going to wait and see. The action looks good. Special effects look better. I mean, like I said, it's 20 plus years. So, hopefully, we'll get something decent here. Because why not? It's fun, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles getting a new game, Shredder's Revenge. And this thing looks fantastic. And I didn't even, this wasn't even on my radar. This kind of snuck underneath my radar and just showed up. Like, all of a sudden, like, there was 3 other YouTubers out there that were like, hey, look at this thing. And I'm like, no kidding. And it's made by the same guys who made Streets of Rage 4. And I really enjoy that game. I have it on the Switch, and yeah, that was a really good game. I can't think of the name of the company offhand. I didn't want to butcher it anyway, but I know it's a French company. And it's going to come out on the PC and consoles, but there is no release date as of yet. So I'm only wondering, is this going to come out on physical, or is it going to be just a digital game? I have a feeling it's going to be digital, and that's kind of the word of mouth going around right now. But nowadays it's like, well, it's going to come out digital, and then everyone, the next thing everybody says is, well, limited run will get their hands on it. So I don't know why they just don't go for the guys who developed this just don't go for a run of physical media anyway. Why do they wait for this other company to come in and take care of that for them? But it is what it is. This is what gaming is nowadays, so that's what it is. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Everything that I've seen so far, it looks just like the old 16-bit brawlers of old. So there's nothing wrong with that. They can make those all day long, and I'll buy that up every single time. All right. We got some information from the Intellivision Amico people. Now, I believe the Amico was supposed to launch next month in April, and that actually got pushed back. And it got pushed all the way back to October of this year. And boy, what a pushback! I mean, that's no small potatoes right there. That's one heck of a pushback there. I don't know. It's hard. I don't want to say stuff that's going to sound like I'm kind of knocking on these guys. First of all, let me just say, I do believe that this is a legit console. I do believe that it's going to come out. I mean, I've seen so much gameplay and they put out a ton of stuff on their YouTube channel, which is actually kind of nice. So I do think this is out there. The CEO of Intellivision, or the owner, Tommy Tallarico, he's a character and a half. I like Tommy. I really like Tommy. I believe him. The guy has too much street cred when it comes to the community of gaming that I never get the feeling that that this ain't coming out. It's coming out, and I am so on the edge of wanting to put money down on this, but I think I'm going to wait. I want to wait and see, when people start getting theirs in October, and just see what they think. Because going forward, I want to handle these systems in a different way. And it's probably the way that I originally intended. I never wanted this channel to be one of those channels like, some other channels are, where they just knock boots with people from these companies, and they just complain about them. I want to try and give these companies a little bit more of a fair shake than I think I've been giving them. Now, that being said, if I have skin in the game, namely, if I have bought into one of these systems and I'm having thoughts of, as far as somebody who has done a pre-order on something like this, I'm going to say that. And if it's critical, it's critical. But going forward, stuff like the VCS and the Amico, I want to, and the Polymega for that matter, I really want to wait and see before I say anything else. So that's why I'm only going to say, hey, the Amico's been pushed back. It's October. Do I believe what they said? Because they did come out with a video explaining why it had been pushed back. Do I believe that stuff? I don't know. It seemed kind of wishy-washy and thin to me. What I really think it is that the system's not ready yet. And that's fine. That is fine. Because, you want to make sure this system is ready to go when you launch. Because we're going to talk about, actually, now that I think about it, we're going to talk about something else that is slated to come out fairly soon that is not ready. That just started going out to reviewers this last week and a half. But anyway, yeah, I just don't think, I don't think that the Amico's ready yet. But I from everything I've seen, it's gotta be close. It's gotta be close. So October. They're gonna release it in October. I think that I would be really surprised if it doesn't launch in October. I'd be nervous if it doesn't release in October if I had a pre-order on this thing. But I don't know. We're going to wait and see. And, one of the other things, too, is when I first heard that this day got pushed back, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to talk about this system and what I think. And I was going to be critical. I was going to be really critical. But then a buddy of mine, Gary from Rock Solid Productions, that YouTube channel, he actually had Tommy Tellerico on for an interview, a live stream interview, and it was really good. It was 4 hours. This thing's long, so Tommy likes to talk. He's definitely got the gift of gab, which is good when you're trying to sell something, because he is a salesman. He's selling this thing almost all by himself. And word of mouth with other people that are just excited for this system. So I would suggest, two things to go and watch if you're really keeping a track of the Amico. Number one, go and check out the video that Intellivision released on their YouTube channel explaining why this got pushed back. And chances are, if you're that interested about this, you've already watched it. But then also go over to Gary from Rock Solid Gaming's channel and check out that interview. Chances are you're going to get whatever questions you have answered in that 4 hours. But it's 4 hours. It's a long video to watch. And Tommy's doing 90% of the talk in there. He's just going on and on and on. So, but it's definitely worth a look at. And like I was saying, I'm going to give it a fair shake. Now, the VCS, I really haven't changed my mind on it. And unfortunately, I would like to get my hands on one just to see what it's about, what it's really about, and for me to give you some hands-on thoughts about it. But I got to be honest with you guys. $400, that just ain't going to happen. I'm not above spending money here for video games. But, at the same time, too, there is definitely a budget in this household. And, I don't know. Hey, Atari, if you want to send me a review unit, I'll be more than happy to go over it. I'm not saying that it's going to change my mind as far as, what I've already said about you guys. But, at least I'll be going forward here. I'm going to do some hands-on with as many of these consoles as I can. So if I talk critical about them, it's going to be from firsthand experience. Okay, me rattling on here. Another company, another item that's kind of with these other two is Polymega. And, boy, I don't know, man. I've had two pre-orders with these guys. I pre-ordered the day of when it first launched, the pre-orders, and I just remember that it took me forever because, the website was crashing, and supposedly somebody was hacking into the website, and that's the thing. If you go along on this timeline with these guys, there's always something weird going. There's always something weird. So, like, the pre-orders came out, and it was really hard to get through, but I got through. And then Analog announced that it was going to start pre-orders for the Mega SG. So I canceled my pre-order, and I went with the Analog SG. And then about, I want to say it was in 2019, I did another pre-order. For the base model, which is, all the disc-based systems, and then for the TurboGrafx 16 module that goes with it. And I am excited for it. But God, I'll be honest with you, that excitement is dwindling fast. So, the Polymega was originally supposed to come out, I want to say this past year, in July 7th. I remember it was right after July 4th. And then that got bumped back to November. And we got to November, or right before November, and I remember I even got a shipping email saying that, hey, we're just sending this out. Your stuff's getting ready to ship. Just making sure your address is correct. Let us know if it's not. If it is good, then you don't have to do anything. And then, like 2 days later, they sent out an announcement saying that it got pushed back to the end of February. And I just remember how, you're disappointed. You're disappointed, but it's just like, well, I just got like this confirmation email that this stuff's getting ready to ship like 2 days ago. And then now you're telling me that it's getting pushed back to February. So it was so odd. But whatever, because of COVID and everything, you don't want to jump all over it too much because it's like, there are extenuating circumstances going on in this day and age right now. So now we get to February, the end of February. Actually, right now we're, beginning of March, coming on the middle of March here, to be honest with you. And I have seen nothing. No emails. No Twitter, no nothing. I am a part of a Polymega fan group on Facebook, and nothing. I've seen one guy say that he's got his stuff, and he said he wasn't a tester. Now, I don't know if that's true, but that's the only guy I've seen that has actually gotten his stuff, supposedly. And the thing with this company is, with Polymega, that is so, just drives you batshit crazy, is that they don't say anything. They don't release any information about anything. It's like, look, you guys have pushed this thing back 2 or 3 times already. Here we are, nothing's happening, and you guys aren't saying anything. You guys got to say something, man. I mean, come on. How can you not say anything? Well, they did say something. And only because an article was written about what was going on with them. So, actually, let me back up here before I talk about what they said. Because, what was it, like 2-3 weeks ago? They announced that they were having problems with Walmart. Because you could pre-order through Walmart if you wanted to. But supposedly, like, Walmart wasn't working with them, or they weren't getting back to them. I don't know, something weird. It was just weird. And then they told everybody that had pre-ordered with Walmart to cancel their pre-orders with them and do a pre-order on Polymega's website. Now, I don't know how that went for those folks, but it was like, geez. It was just weird because it was like, I don't know, Walmart's not getting back to you? Really? I've never heard of that. I don't know. It was just weird. And the way that transpired. So then we get to now, and I went right off their website. I didn't go through Walmart, but I'm not seeing anything now. And an article was written about what was going on here on Nintendo Life. And they responded. And here's what they said. They said, Polymega is still shipping, but it's coming out slower than expected from our Myanmar, sorry if I'm butchering that, factory due to the protests that are happening. I guess there's protests happening there. The modules and controllers are made in China while the console is assembled in Myanmar. The timing is changing daily, which is why we haven't announced anything concrete yet. We are still on track to ship everything here over the next few weeks. Okay. And that's fine. I didn't know that was going on. Do I believe it or not? I mean, I guess. Here's the thing. You didn't want to make an announcement of anything concrete. Well, you don't have to make an announcement of anything concrete. But you know what you could have said? You could have said that. You could have said that on your Facebook channel. You could have said that, or your Facebook page. You could have said that on your Twitter account. You could have put that up on your web page. Otherwise, what else do you have a web page for? Put it up there. That's all you had to say. You know, why do you let people just sit here in the dark wondering what the hell is going on? Because you know how people are. As soon as you keep your mouth shut and there's no information coming out, people start assuming stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong. I started assuming stuff. Well, I'm wondering, you know, is this coming out? Why aren't they saying? Are they just taking our money and running? Now, I don't think they're doing that, but, you know, I mean, how do you come to a release date, nothing happens, and you don't say anything? Especially with, you know, they act like it's so hard to do. Look, I'm one guy with a mic in a basement and a laptop, and I can do a podcast and get this out if I really want to. The only thing that stops me is COVID, and I could have still done it if I really wanted to, and that's just me. Who the hell am I? I don't know. Come on, Polymega. Just keep us in the loop here. We're all looking forward to getting this thing, but I'll be honest with you. You know, the way they've handled this, my expectations of the future of this project is definitely changed and been lowered. Because when they first started talking about this, I'm like, oh God, what other modules or systems, you know, will they try next? You know, because I'm like, if this thing's a big success, then maybe we'll get like an N64 or a 3DO, you know, a module or some sort of compatibility. But now, I'm just going to be satisfied to get what they originally said that you could get with this thing coming out. And I'm not expecting at all that anything else is ever going to materialize, because I just don't think they have their shit together enough for this. Prove me wrong, Polymega, because boy, that would be great for both of us if you proved me wrong. And I'll eat my words. I got no problem with that. Hey, I'm wrong all the time. Trust me. I am no stranger to being wrong about a great many things. All right. So, every now and again, you get lawmakers that like to blame life's problems on video games or music or movies. But in this case, it's video games. And this kind of strikes close to home here. There is a lawmaker in Chicago, Marcus Evans Jr. And, excuse me there. And he's talking about looking into amending a bill that's already there that kind of already prevents certain video games getting out there to younger people. But he wants to ban the sales of GTA 5 to not only kids but adults, because he's saying that this game is affecting basically the reason why you see the increased number of carjackings in Chicago. And there has been. It's been something that's been a problem lately. So in this article, it says last week lawmakers filed HB 3531, an amendment that wants to not just ban the sales of games featuring psychological harm and carjackings to minors, but to adults as well. It says, according to Evans, these types of games promote criminal activities, which in turn hurt the community. The bill would prohibit the sales of some of these games that promote the activities that we're suffering from in our communities. It says, adding to this, a gentleman named Early Walker, the founder of Operation Safe Pump, and who has worked with Evans Jr. on the bill, says GTA 5 in particular has become an issue. He says, I feel like the game has become a huge issue in this spectrum. When you compare the two, you see harsh similarities as it relates to these carjackings. Okay. Well, first of all, I think that's a bunch of bullshit. Okay. Look, you want to draw lines and connect the dots. If you're looking for it, you'll find it with just about any other thing in life. If you're looking for it, you're going to find it. Okay. Now, this isn't GTA 5 is not a game that just came out. This game's been out for a while. I think it was it got released in 2012, 2013, and it was on, the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360. You're 2 generations ahead now. And it's going to be on, I believe, this generation that just came about. So it's been a while it's been out there. So my question is, let's say for the sake of argument, it is the reason or one of the reasons why we've seen the increased carjackings in Chicago, then why now? I mean, why wasn't it? I mean, this thing took off. This thing's been gangbuster sales forever. So why is it affecting people now and it wasn't affecting people earlier than this? Because the game was out there. The game was everywhere. I have it. It's a great game. It's the best one so far, I think, out of all of them, which is probably the reason why they keep porting it to the next generations. It's the same feeling I get every time they want to blame video games or music or movies. You know, it's easy. It's low-hanging fruit. It's easy to say this is to blame. But there's a kind of another part of this as far as I'm concerned. And I'm not from Chicago. I'm not from the city. I am about an hour south of there, about 45 minutes. I consider myself from the Chicagoland area. So I'm just saying this because I don't want to, I know I'm going to kind of sound like I know what I'm talking about as far as being from the city, but I'm not from the city. But here's the thing, okay? First of all, number one, I always have a hard time when any politician from anywhere wants to blame video games for anything. Because, number one, they usually don't know what the hell they're talking about because they probably barely know the game they're talking about anyway. But in this case, it's a politician from Chicago. And I don't know, I am not familiar with this Marcus Evans Jr. But one thing I do know is that in general, that lawmakers from Chicago are pretty useless, especially when it comes to the ones that represent these neighborhoods that have a lot of problems, namely on the south side. Okay? And I think this is just a huge cop-out by these guys to say, oh, we're going to say GTA 5's the problem. No. You guys do nothing for these people. Okay? These poor neighborhoods that are minorities, these lawmakers, they don't care anything about these people. Now, I know I'm painting with a broad brush here. So let me just say, too, that I'm sure there are lawmakers that do care about their people up there. But I don't think I'm going to be far out of line by saying it's far and few between. Okay? Because the track record for the politicians in the city of Chicago is not great. Okay? So when these guys want to make an issue of this, I think that's just ridiculous. And it annoys the hell out of me. Because I will take the train a lot of times to go up to the city, the metro. And you go through, some of the bad neighborhoods there. And, the one thing that I always think of, too, is you go through the neighborhood, that, especially the ones that were represented by, Jesse Jackson Jr. And the houses, the windows are boarded up, and the businesses have, windows are boarded up, and it's just a shame. And here you have their representative out there taking money that these poor people that don't have a pot to piss in donate to his campaign, and he's illegally taking this money and buying for coats and Rolexes and paying for, a mistress and all this other stuff. And meanwhile, these poor people he's doing nothing for. And the only reason why he keeps getting reelected is because of his name. But yet he does nothing for them. He did nothing for them. And you know what? In maybe this Marcus Edwards or Evans Jr., maybe he is trying to do something for these people. But Jack, I got to tell you, this ain't it. This ain't it. To me, every time I hear it, it just seems like it's low-hanging fruit, and it's just a way to grab headlines to make it look like you're trying to do something. Because how can you ban this stuff from getting into adults' hands? And why do you need a law to keep it out of minors' hands? This shouldn't be getting in the minors' hands anyway. Anyway, it really annoys me, even when this comes from another part of the country. But when it comes from Chicago, guys, go pack sand, because this is not the answer to that problem by any stretch of the imagination. Okay, I'm guaranteeing you. I say, you know what? Put a ban on it for 5 months and see what happens. I can guarantee you that you're not going to see a drop in carjackings. And if you do, it's just by sheer luck. All right. Well, I'm going to get off of that because I know I got a little political there. But, yeah, suck an egg, guys. Try and do some good in your community other than trying to hit low-hanging fruit. And then you could say, well, look, this we did this. Is this game is the reason why? No, it's because these neighborhoods are poor, because the schools are poor, because you need jobs in these neighborhoods, because you need good education in these neighborhoods. You need the infrastructure for these people to be successful. And that does not include banning video games. But banning video games, it doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't cost you time. It doesn't cost any effort, any money. It's easy to do that. But to actually roll up your sleeves and get down to business and make sure the schools are good schools, and they have teachers, and these kids are getting fed how they need to be taken care of, and that there's jobs for these people to make a living. No, it's video games. Okay. Well, whatever. Good luck with that. All right. Boy, that sounded like some sour grapes. All right. On to something a little bit, I don't know. I guess is a little bit more happy. So I've been stuck here at home for a little over 2 weeks now, and I really thought at the beginning of this that I was going to do some gaming. I was ready. I'm like, you know what? I'm out of work for at least 10 days minimum. So let's I got to stay away from everybody. So let's do some gaming. And yeah, that didn't happen the way I thought it was. I just didn't have the energy. And I know you're saying, how much energy do you need to game? Well, trust me. I would get like 2 minutes in and just to pass out. But as I started getting a little bit better, I have been doing some stuff. So one of the things I've been doing is I've been working a lot on my Raspberry Pi. I kind of wiped the whole thing clean and started putting games on there again, with box art and descriptions and, video intros on there, which is really nice. So that's such a neat item. If you've never put together your own Raspberry Pi, it's not hard to do. There's so many tutorials that they'll just walk you step by step through it online. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. It's such a neat thing. If I would have had something like that when I was a kid, it would have blown my mind. But along with that, with me making the games, making sure the games are working and testing on them, man, I've gone down the rabbit hole on a couple games. And one of them is Bomberman or Super Bomberman on the Super Nintendo. Man, the other night I was on that thing for 3 hours. And I didn't even realize how long it was taking. And I'm horrible at it. I don't know why. I was just going on a bad run. And I was just kept dying. And then all of a sudden, something just clicked. And I was rolling. And I like Bomberman, but every day since I've been on this Bomberman kick. And also for the Super Nintendo, but Yoshi's Cookie. And I never understood how to play that game before. So I had to go online, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna learn this game. And you have to line up the different, I guess it's cookies or candies or whatever, kind of like a Tetris / Dr. Mario kind of thing. And I'm not a big puzzle game guy, but it was fun. It was fun, and I thought I was gonna take this time and do one of these long games, and I got the time now to dedicate it to it, but now I'm just, more and more, I just like those pick up and play games. It's just easier that way. So I guess that's why I shouldn't be so bummed that I don't have the new generation systems, because maybe that's just not the way I'm gaming anymore. Hey, just doing some of these epics. Of course, I am going to get these new games, but or these new systems, but one of these days. I keep looking. I keep looking online every day. Nothing. One thing I did put some money down on is the At Games limited virtual pinball machine, which I believe should be coming sometime in May. And I'm really looking forward to that, because they just released a whole bunch of different packages for new machines to download onto the original, like 21 or 22 that come with it. So, and if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, go on YouTube and At Games virtual pinball machine. This looks really, really awesome, and I know Mad Little Pixel has been doing a lot with his, and I can't wait to get it, because I've always wanted a pinball machine down here. But and I've talked about this before, with pinball machines, unlike arcade machines, there's just so much more that goes along with them. Not to say that regular arcade games aren't expensive, but pinball, it takes it to another level. I mean, you're talking thousands of dollars, and then you got to find a spot for it down here, which shouldn't be too much of a problem. But then they all say, people that collect for that say, you got to know how to work on these things a little bit. And homie don't know how to work on anything. Let me just tell you that. If I'm going to be the one relying on myself to work on this thing, So, and the fact that if, I spent, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 on a pinball machine, brought that home, the wife would have me living in that in the backyard after we get divorced. She'd kill me. What are you talking about? We'd all get divorced. Any one of us did that. And if your wife is cool with that, then you need to get a new wife, because sometimes you got to have that other half. Sometimes has to be the one that reels you in. I know my wife gives me a lot of leeway with my collecting, but I do know that there's a line in the sand there. So you got to be careful with that, if you know what I mean. Well, all right, guys. I think that's where we're going to end it for this week. This went a little bit better than what I thought. I will say, this was the second time I've recorded this. I recorded one last night, and boy, I went back and listened to it to make sure everything sounded fine, and I was just so crabby in this thing, just a mess. And I don't know, maybe I was crabby in this one too, but this is it. I tried not to be as bitchy in this one, so hopefully you got the diet bitchy one. You know what I mean? This one wasn't quite as bad as what I did last night. I'm trying to be positive. But it's just so much easier for me to rant about the things that are ticking me off. So my promise to you folks is that in the next episode, I'm going to give you 5 topics that are nothing but happiness and goodness in the gaming world. All right, guys. Well, that being said, I'm looking forward to being positive in a couple of weeks. And, I'm going to go knock out and get some more sleep, because I'm done. This is it. This is as active as I've been in like 2.5 weeks. All right, guys. I'll talk to you guys later. Keep it safe. Good night and goodbye.
Please go away. Let me sleep, for the love of God.